Good. So if you look at this particular question, the first one we are doing it without or before dropping Y-fly product. Now that we've dropped Y-fly, these are some of the conditions that we're able to see. For us to be able to drop Y-fly, one, for every 3 units of Y-fly that were being produced, we are now going to utilize that resource to be able to maximize on the number of no-fly. So that's what we need for us to be able to get. If we are going to stop production of 150,000 units of Y-fly, what will be the additional units of no-fly which will be produced? We are able to get 50,000. Then we are now asking ourselves, the new units of no-fly will be the existing one in the other option, which was 60,000, plus the additional 50,000 which we are getting as a result of dropping the production of Y-fly. So the total number of units we are having here is 110,000, which you're able to see. We posted them here. Then the next thing, what is another thing that will be affected? So one, the units have been affected by an increase of 50,000. How about the selling price? Now that the units have been increased from 60 to 110, then the company requires to do some serious marketing for them to be able to sell the increased units. And therefore, one of the strategies that they have decided to deal with is reducing their selling price from 30 to 27, that is a 10% decrease in the selling price, which we are able to do, and we are getting 27. So that 27 affected our selling price, affected our contribution per unit, but it did not affect variable cost per unit. They have not mentioned anything that will be affecting our variable cost, but because one of the elements that is giving us contribution margin, which is basically selling price here, has been affected. So we'll be able to see that we are having a different figure for the contribution as compared to the other option. Then we now come to the fixed production cost. The fixed production cost here, we are told is going to be introduced, and we have it as 6.5 per unit of output. Of which particular product? No fly. Zero fly has not been affected. So these changes here are basically referring to no fly. And therefore, once we're able to identify that this is the fixed production overhead cost per unit, we multiply by the number of units. But we must have a disclaimer. The way we are going to deal with this fixed production cost is determined by the costing system you're going to use. Are we going to use marginal or absorption costing? I believe I clearly explained yesterday that when we talk about marginal, we talk about marginal costing, or we call it variable costing system. Here we call it full or absorption full costing system, or costing method or technique. So when I want to deal with these two, the difference is basically how we are going to deal with the fixed production overheads. This is what brings the difference. Under this particular method, that is marginal or variable costing, we only consider direct material. We consider direct labor. This concept here is very important to us because as we proceed, there's somewhere we are going to deal with them in a different question. Then, and also even a different topic. After dealing with the direct labor, direct material, we need variable production overheads. And then we have fixed. So under marginal, fixed production overhead does not form part of the product cost. It will be taken to the statement of income statement under operating expenses. It will be expensed in the income statement. But under absorption or full costing method, we are going to have the same things, that is direct material, direct labor, variable production overheads, then we have fixed production overheads. So you're able to see under marginal costing, we are not going to bring fixed production overhead as part of product cost. But under marginal, it will be forming part of product cost. It will be forming part of product cost. Now, as far as this question is concerned, will we make this fixed production overhead to be part of product cost? Will we make it to be part of product cost? Or do we have any information guiding us on the method being used, that is marginal or absorption? Do you have any information? Do you have any information guiding us on how to deal with this section? Now that we've been able to see there's introduction of fixed production overhead. So are we given any information? Additional information number 5. What does it tell us? The company deals with, that is TL Limited, prepare statement on marginal costing basis. So marginal costing basis, we are going to forget about the absorption. So our cost of goods or cost of the product will entail direct material, will entail direct labor, will entail variable production overhead. So all these costs are variable. All these costs are actually variable. But even fixed production overhead is variable per unit, as we can see. We are given it here as 6.5 shillings per unit. But it is only variable when you use now the standard units, or as per the budget of that particular company. So that one tells us that this fixed production overhead will not find its way up here. We are going to deal with it once we are done with the contribution of this particular company. Good. So back to what we started yesterday. We are able to look at now the new income statement after dropping the wife line. So we have selling price. There. Variable cost, of course, this one has not changed. We are getting our contribution. So once we have contribution per unit, why can't we get the units for us to be able to have our total contribution? Then from that point, we'll be able to get what we're supposed to subject to the fixed costs that you are given there. So how many units do we have for zero fly? How many units do we have for zero fly? How many units do we have for zero fly? 50,000 units. 50,000 units. How about no fly? I know somebody's wondering, why are we indicating 110? Yet, if you look at the information given in paragraph 2, within that table, no fly is indicated as 60,000. Is there someone who is not getting this? Anyone who is not getting 110, please let me know. Anyone who is not understanding where we are getting 110, please let me know. It seems you are all able to understand where this 110 is coming from. Good. So once that is done, why can't you get total contribution? Total contribution will be contribution unit by unit, by units. Contribution by unit, we add contribution by unit. So what are we getting here? When you do all that, what will you have? 16,000 by 50, 15 by 110, 2450, 2450. So we are having 24. Even indicate it somewhere here. 2450. Good. So once that is done, what do we need? We now need to come here and less fixed production overheads. And of course, we also have another fixed cost. Fixed non-production overheads. So the fixed production overheads, we are able to see it here, 715. How about fixed and production? How about fixed non-production? What is our fixed non-production cost? Fixed non-production cost. Do we have it anywhere? Fixed non-production cost. Do we have it anywhere? Fixed non-production cost. You are able to calculate it in the first part of this question, which you are having 1690. 1690. So what is your net profit when you try to drop Wi-Fi? What is your new net profit? What is your new net profit? What is your new net profit? We have 45. We have 45,000. So that's our new net profit. These are our new net profits. Good. Remember, we are doing all this for you to be able to advise the company. For you to be able to advise the company. So let's come here and look at the analysis. So one way of looking at the analysis, we can come here and then we say before can have here before and after. So we need net profit. So net profit before you should be able to give me, but after I'm able to pick it from this part. Are you able to give me before? What were we having as the net profit before dropping Wi-Fi? Net profit before dropping Wi-Fi. 490,000, is it? 490,000. So advise these people. Are you going to drop it or you're going to retain it? If I drop that Wi-Fi, my net profit at the end of the day is 45,000. If I don't drop it, yes, its net profit is below the target, but to the entire company, this is what we are getting as the net profit. So what are we going to do? Advise, continue or discontinue? Continue producing Wi-Fi or discontinue? So advise. The company should continue producing or manufacturing Wi-Fi. To be able to continue producing Wi-Fi. It should be able to continue producing Wi-Fi. Good. Another person may pick it from this point. Remember, this total fixed cost is not changing. This total fixed cost here is not changing. So somebody will be comparing. Before you get 490, what was your contribution? In the other question, we add contribution. Here. Then when we less now fixed cost, which is 1690, you are getting 490. What was this contribution? What was this contribution here? What was this contribution? The other part of the question, before dropping Wi-Fi, we add all this calculated and then we add the total contribution. So this summation is what I'm asking for. It was 2180. It was 2180. So now before, of course, can have here before. Then we have after. So we have contribution. Before we add 21, 80. Here, before or after, now our total contribution is 24.50. That's another way of looking at it, 24.50. Then we less any other cost that will be introduced as a result of dropping that. Now, when it dropped Y-fly, we are able to see that no fly has been increased. Increase in the number of no fly to be produced led to the introduction of fixed production overhead, which was 6.5 shillings per unit, giving us. So let's now less fixed production overhead, which is not affecting it before but after 7.15. So let's look at it. What is the profit that is remaining before we less the one which will not inform your decision? So this one will remain to be 21.80. How about this 24.50 minus 7.15? 24.50 minus 7.15. What do we have? 24.50 minus 7.15. What do we have? 24.50 minus 7.15 here. What do we have here? 17.35. 17.35. Board is not clear. Please confirm. How about the rest? Are you able to see the board? Are you able to see the board from your side? It is clear. So just check on your network. Check on your network. So this is another way. This is another way of confirming that. This is another way of confirming that, because why are we not bringing in our fixed cost in terms of making the decision here? This fixed cost, look at our fixed cost here, the 1690. Whether we drop or we retain Y-fly, our total fixed cost here, I mean our fixed non-production overheads here, is not affected. So whichever decision you are going to make, the fixed cost will not increase, it will not decrease. So what do we call that? They are not going to be useful costs when coming up with this particular decision. They don't, we call them irrelevant cost in terms of decision making, because the fixed cost, whether you pay, whether you drop this or not, you're basically not going to have this affecting your decision. For example, whether you have two options, your current place of employment and maybe another option, is it? Now, let's say they are within the same area. They are within the same area. If they are within the same area, then maybe you are not planning, or even if you are planning, but your cost, your fixed cost per month, let's say if it is rent, you are not going to reduce, or you're not going to do away with rent because you've now been taken to a new place of work, or you've gotten a new opportunity. No, you still continue paying rent unless you have your own home that you can be able to commute to as you do your work in the new place of employment. So such kind of things, whether you've changed the job or not, you will still continue paying for that rent. Whether you've been able to drop Wi-Fi or not, you still have plant and machinery which will be used in production of these two products. So the depreciation of that plant and machinery has not changed. The repair and maintenance of the machinery has not been affected. The insurance cost of insuring that machinery, which you are going to pay at the end of every month, the premiums, are not affected, which are basically forming part of this 1690. So that's why this one becomes an irrelevant cost in terms of determining what decision to make. So are we together up to that point? Are we together up to that point? Are we together up to that point? Good. So we have been able to see now, if you look at maybe your course outline, is that option of buy, stroke make, which you are able to see what you are supposed to buy under the limiting factor. The limiting factor. So you have the decision of buy or make with the limiting factor. We're able to see what we are supposed to buy, that is actual production. What you're supposed to, what you're supposed to make, actual production. What you're supposed to buy, outsourced. Outsourced. Is it? When you now come to this part here, discontinue operations, or just retain that particular department. Just retain that particular department. Then you are able to look at the CVP analysis. And of course, this is just an extension of the CVP analysis, which again is an extension of what you discussed at intermediate level, which is about the marginal and absorption costing. So some of the applications of that is what we've been able to extend to these parts. Is what we've been able to extend to this particular points. Let me see if we can look at another question. So whatever they tested actually in the December 2023, they did not bring out that area of limiting factor so clearly. It was not actually brought out. So what are we expecting as we prepare for the April exams? Let's look at that area and see whether we are able to tackle questions around that particular point. Let's look at that area and see whether we are able to tackle questions around that point. Good. So let me see what we can do next. A question here. We are done with the December 2023 limiting factor. I think we tackled that. Limiting factor, I think we are able to deal with that. So we can now move to something here. We can now move to something here where we need to make decision. Where we need to make decision. The decision criteria here. The decision criteria that we need to deal with here are, you want to advise the company, they have to set the prices maybe, or they want to give production of a given quantity. So that's the payoff tables that we need to come up with. Now, for us to make that decision under those uncertain conditions, one, you can make decision by looking at the maximum of the maximums. Then you will be telling us here by use of, you maximize the minimum figure. So out of the minimum figures, look at the maximum one. Then you minimize the maximum figure. And then of course we use what you call Laplace criteria. So before you actually look at all this, the steps here is for you to be able to come up with the payoff tables. Payoff tables. These payoff tables basically contains, just ensure that you have what we call net profit. So if you have anything to do with the fixed cost, please take care of that particular fixed costs. Take care of that particular fixed cost. You'll be given selling price per unit. You'll be given variable cost per unit. You'll be given quantity, and then you'll be given total fixed costs. Then for you to be able to arrive at what we call profit. So these profits here are what you're going to have in the payoff table. So from that payoff table, you look at the conditions of the possibility. Is it having high chances? Is it having medium chances, or is having extremely low chances to be able to meet that particular item? So those are some of the things you want to look at. Those are some of the things that you want to look at. But of course, before we move to what was tested in one of the sittings, why can't we look at a sample question, which I need to share with you again? Why can't you look at this sample question, which I believe you will be able to access? So once you've been able to access it, it will allow me to know. It will allow me to know so that we proceed together. Good. So do we have it with us? Confirm, 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 confirm. That's what I want us to do. And for the benefit of those who will be using the video, I want to share it again in the meeting and share my screen so that maybe we can give them 2 to 3 minutes to take a screenshot of the same. Let's see. Okay, let me just share my screen in the next 2 minutes. So you can just read the question and see what you have there. Are you able to come up with the payoff tables before you do your analysis? Are you able to come up with the payoff tables? Are you able to come up with the payoff tables? So the payoff tables is basically getting the net profit. So are we able to get the net profit for all the conditions of items given there? It's taking time. Which question? It has been shared in the meeting. I mean, in the WhatsApp group. It has been shared in our WhatsApp group. It has been shared in our WhatsApp group. So please just have a look at it. Have you been able to access it? Someone who's not having the question. Is it now with you? Is the question now with you? That is what you want to use for us to be able to look at those 4 scenarios. That is can call it A. Can call it D. So if you look at that question we have been given there, the proposal. They are not sure of the price to be set so that they can sell their goods and maximize their profit. Is it? So they are contemplating here on whether to set the price at 4 shillings, 4.3, 4 shillings, 4.3, or even 4.4. So that's what they are actually trying to look at. Now that I have it with me, it will be okay for me to be able to share it here. So once you're able to see it, we can just want those who will be using this video to be able to have the question, not just the video. So you'll confirm whether you're able to see it, may be shared. Good, so that's what we have. I believe you're able to see my screen. So you're being told, assume that ABC Limited is trying to set the selling price of one of its products and 3 prices are under consideration. These are shillings 4, shillings 4.3, and shillings 4.4. The following information is also provided. So what we have there is basically units of output. That's what we have there, the units. The alternatives, under best possible condition, they are able to sell 16,000 units. Should they set their selling price at 4 shillings? Under most likely, they are able to sell 14,000 units when selling at 4 shillings. And worst possible, they are able to sell 10,000 units at 4 shillings. The trend will continue. When you now get to setting the price at 4.3, they can sell a maximum of 14,000 units. That is best possible. 12,500, most likely. 8,000, worst possible. Then we have shillings, 4.4. 4.4 shillings, that is 12,500 for best possible. Most likely 12,000, worst possible 6,000. Fixed cost we are given there as 20,000. It does not change. For every possible condition, for every selling price, our fixed cost will be applied at a figure of 20,000. The variable cost per unit is given to us there as 2 shillings per unit. This variable cost will enable us to get contribution. And of course, we multiply what we are having by the units of output less the fixed cost. So you can basically take 4 by 16,000. For example, if you're looking at this, you can take 4 by 16,000 minus 4 by minus 16,000 by 2. Then again, you now deduct, now that you have gross contribution, you deduct 20,000. Or because selling price per unit is this dependent on the units of output, variable cost is dependent on units of output. Why can't you take 4 minus 2, then you multiply by 16 minus 20,000 for you to be able to get net profits, which we are going to call the payoff table, the payoff table. So that's what we have. I believe those who are taking screenshots must have been able to do that. Those who are not having the question have been able to retrieve that. And of course, those who will be using this in future will also manage to benefit from this particular video now that the question is provided. So back to our class. Good. So what we have there is a company that wants to set the selling price. They want to set the selling price. This selling price here, somebody will not wake up and set the preferred selling price. You must back up your decision with some of the supporting information. What are the factors that you're going to put under consideration as you come up with a decision of that nature? So that's what you want to look at. Now, we are told that advise the company on the best price to set. The best price to be set will be determined, or the decision you are going to make will be determined by some of these possible criteria. So we have maximum. What you need to understand, actually, don't even bother yourself about learning so many things under this. Don't spend the whole week trying to master this. Look at what we have here. We call this max. You are maximizing the maximum figures. Maximin, you are maximizing the minimum figures. What do I mean by telling you that we have maximax? And somebody is telling you that you maximize the maximum figures. What do you mean? I have, so let's say when I do my calculation, the maximum figures happen to be in the first selling price under any of the conditions. We have 6, we have 9, we have 12. So those are the maximum figures. When we talk about maximax, we are told that we maximize the maximum. So these are the maximum figures. So amongst these maximum figures, which one is the highest? So this one here. Therefore, we select whatever is under that 12. When we are told to minimax, let's look at C. Minimax. We are told to minimize the maximum. So the maximum figures, we already have them here, but now we are being told to minimize. So we're going to go for the lowest. We'll be going for the lowest, that is minimax. Then maximin, we are maximizing the minimum figures. Now, let's say you are given the minimum figures you are given 4, minimum figures you are given 8, minimum figures you are given 11. Then you are being told, do what? Do Roman 2, that is maximize the minimum figures. So amongst these minimum figures, which one is the highest? Even though they are the minimum figures, this one here happens to be the highest figure of this minimum figure. So we select the selling price that relates with this particular item. With that particular item. Laplace criteria, we now have to bring in the probability element. In terms of probability, what is the probability or possibility of that particular condition occurring? That's what we are again going to have in place. That's what we are going to have in place. So I believe that is it. I believe that is it. Now we should be able to go ahead and look at what we have. So I want us to set up the table down here first of all. So when we have the conditions, let's get the net profit for this particular table. So best possible here, when we have the price at 4 shillings, we'll be taking 16,000, that is units, multiplied by selling price minus variable cost. Then we less 20,000. What are you getting? That is best possible under 4 shillings. Then you come to most likely. Most likely we have 14,000 times the selling price is still 4, variable is that. We should be able to have that. Then we have worst possible. Worst possible, we have 10,000 times 4 minus 2. Best is 12,000. So I'm doing this one is 12,000. Believing that you're able to see the other side of the board. Yes, it is visible. So I'm told this one is 12,000. The second one is 12,000. Which one is 8? 28,000 minus 20, that is 8,000. How about this one here? 20 minus 20. What will we have? Worst possible is equivalent to 0. Worst possible is equivalent to 0. So that is what we have there. How about the next one when we have the selling price of 4.3? Selling price of 4.3. So best possible, just look at the units, 14. So we'll be having best possible. We have 14 into 4 minus 2. Sorry, not 4 actually. It's now 4.3 minus 2. We deduct 20,000. Most likely, we have 2,500 into 4.3 minus 2 minus 20,000. Then worst possible, we have 8,000. 4.3 minus 2. So what do we have here? Give me the figures. The first one tuko na ngapi? 8750. The second one, what do we have here? $12,200. Okay, the third one. Negative. Tunapata negative. The third one, we have 8,000 by 2.3. 8,000 by 2.3 minus 20,000. Tunapata ngapi? Minus 1,600. Minus 1,600. Minus 1,600. Good. So let's now move to the other one. I think we'll be able to put it here. So we have 4.4. We have best possible, most likely, and then worst possible. The number of units that we are having will be 12,500, 12,000. So this number of units you are going to multiply by 4.4 minus 2. Then we deduct the fixed costs. that is done, what will we have here? $10,800. $10,800, and the third one? The third one, 5,600, of course, negative 5,600, negative 1,600. Good. So having done that, why can't you come up with a table? When you set the selling price at 4 shillings, when you set the selling price at 4.3, and when you set the selling price at 4.4, what we do to having as the, so we are basically coming up, this one is what we call the payoff table. So the payoff table here, we need to have the best possible, most likely, and then worst possible. So we have under 4.3, 4 best possible, 4.4 best possible, we have 12,000. Then under 4 most likely, we have 8,000. We have 0. This other one, 4.3, we have 12,200. We have 87, 50. We have 1,600. Then we have 10,000. We have 8,800. We have 5,600. So this is the payoff table. This is the payoff table that you are required to come up with. And therefore, once you've been able to do that, all this now becomes irrelevant. Don't need them now. So in some questions, actually, we'll be able to see they tell you to give us the minimax, the maximum, Laplace, and then you end up getting even 12 marks, because the procedure of getting this particular table is hectic, and that's why the table itself will be giving you around 3 or even 4 marks. The table itself will be giving you around 3 or even 4 marks. So let's now move to the specific questions. Should be negative. It should be negative. It should be negative. It should be. It should be negative. So let me read the question and then see. Assume that ABC is trying to set the selling price for one of its products, and therefore, under consideration, these are 4, 4.3, and then 4.4. The following information is also provided. So we have all of them mentioned there. Now, the decision-making criteria number 1, we have maxi. We need to come up with what we call maximax decision rule. So the maximax decision rule, we are going to maximize the maximum figures. So advise these people, maximize the maximum figures. So Roman 1, maximax criterion. Maximax criterion here, which one are we going to use? Maximum criterion, you maximize. So give us the maximum under 4, under 4.3, and under 4.4. Are able to give us maximum. Maximum figures. So within all this, when you look at setting the price at 4, what is the maximum figure in that particular column? The maximum figure there, 12,000, is it? Under 4.3, what is the maximum figure? 12,200. Under 4.4, our maximum figure is basically 10,000. What are we doing? We are doing maximax criterion, and therefore we are looking for the maximum figure of the maximums. Now these are the maximum figures. What is the maximum again of the maximum? Maximum figure. Maximum. Now that we've selected all the maximums for each column, what is our maximum figure there? What is our maximum figure? 12,200. So 12,000 is the maximum. So advice or decision? Decision to be made. Set the selling price at. Where are we getting 12.5? 12,200 is basically 4.3. So set the selling price at shillings 4.3. So you've been able to advise this particular company based on maximax criterion. You've been able to advise the company based on maximax criterion. Then Roman 2, let's look for the other one. That is maximum. So let's look at the maximum. Maximum, we are maximizing the minimum figures. So why can't you come and give us under 4? Under 4, 4.3, 4.4, we look at what we call maximum. Sorry. We are maximizing the minimum figure. So look at the minimum. So minimum figures in the first column under the selling price of 4 shillings. What is our minimum? What is our minimum figure? Our minimum figure, 0. How about 4.3? 4.3, our minimum figure should be equivalent to? Our minimum figure should be equivalent to negative 1,600. And 4.4, our minimum figure, negative 5,600. Now that you've selected the minimum figures, they want you to maximize. So what is the highest in this particular list? What is the highest? In this particular list, what is the highest figure? 0. Is it? Our maximum is 0. Decision here. Set the selling price at. Set the selling price at 4 shillings. Is it? Set the selling price at shillings 4. So that's what you are required to do under maximum. How about the third one? The third one we have do we have maximax? Maximum, then we have minimax. Do we have minimax anywhere that we've been able to cover? We don't have minimax, is it? So let's look at minimax. We are minimizing the maximum figures, is it? So minimax here, look at, we are minimizing the maximum figure. So let's come here. You give us the maximum. The maximum figures, we add them somewhere here, or you can even still refer to the table. Our maximum here is 12,000. Our maximum is 12,200. Our maximum is 10,000. So minimize the maximum figures. So look at the minimum of the maximum. So minimum of the maximum figures is 10,000. Is it? Decision. Set the selling price at. Set the selling price at. Set the selling price. Set the selling price at 4.4. 4.4. That is what we have. So that's what we are required to do when you're dealing with minimums. So we need to move to the fourth one. We need to move to the fourth one. The fourth one here, we call it Laplace. Laplace criterion. So under Laplace criterion, what do we need to have in place? Under Laplace criterion, what do we need to have in place? Under Laplace criterion, what do we need to have in place? Under Laplace criterion. So under Laplace criterion, under Laplace criterion here, remember, these people do not have the probability of occurrence. So they do not have, in short, they do not have perfect information. So making decision without perfect information. So when they make a decision without perfect information, what are we going to do? We have an estimate. We come up with an estimate of getting the probabilities. Now, we'll tell ourselves that the possibility of this occurring is basically equal. The three conditions have got equal chances of occurrence. And therefore, we now come here and come up with a new decision table. So we are going to introduce probability. We should be able to introduce probability here. In this table, we'll be introducing probability. So when you introduce probability and they have equal chances of occurring, it means this one will be a third, this one will be a third, this one will be a third. If the examiner has not given you the probability of occurrence, then we use this as the probability. We just take the number and then we take 1 over that particular number. We have 3 conditions, so each has got equal chances of occurring. Now, if we are able to introduce probability, what will we have as at 4, 4.3, 4.4? How do we now deal with the probability? A third of 12,000 plus a third of 8,000 plus a third of 0 will be able to give us the result here. So, most likely, or not even that, we need to have now the figures here, the payoffs. The payoff subjected to the probability of occurrence. What will we have? The payoff subjected to probability of occurrence. What should we have? A third of 12,000 plus a third of 8,000 plus a third of 0. What will we have? What will we have there? What will we have? 66, 6, 7. Is it 6,000? Is it 6,667? 6,647 and mean 67. That is what we have, is it? And for your information, what we are doing here, yes, they have given you the word Laplace, but what we are getting here is what we call expected monetary value, expected monetary value, expected monetary value. So, how about 4.3? Let's go to 4.3. Do the same. A third of 12,200, a third of 8750, plus a third of negative 1600. What will you have? What you are trying to say is the first one, we took a third of 12,000 plus a third of 8,000 plus a third of 0. Now the second one, we have a third of 12,200 plus a third of 8750, a third of negative 1600. Then you go to a third of 0. Yeah, a third of 10,000. Plus a third of 8,800 plus a third of negative. So this is 6,667. The second one, is it 6450? Is it 6450, the second one? No, 6450 in third one. 6450. Let's go to the third one. What do we have for the third one? $4,400. Now, this is expected monetary value. The higher the expected monetary value, the more profitable or suitable the option or decision is. So now that we are going with the expected monetary value, the highest monetary value will give us the suitable decision. So let's have the decision. Decision number one, set the selling price at, set the selling price at, the highest one we have 4 at shillings. At shillings 4. Shillings 4. That is what we are required to do. That is what we are required to do. Then we move to the very last part of that question. Let me see the very last part of the question. Let's see the very last part of the question. So that's how you get the criterion. That's how you get the criterion of Laplace, of maximum, or maximax, of minimax. Now, if you try to go to November 2020, you'll be able to see they are introducing another item there, which you've not been able to do. So let's agree that you can now do anything asking you about anything related to expected monetary value. Expected monetary value, we use the probabilities. And please, let's get to understand this. Let's get to understand this. The probabilities that we are talking about here, if in the exams, the examiner has given you these probabilities, don't now come and tell us that, no, in class you are told we introduce our own probability. No. Should the examiner bring in the probabilities, you use what you've been given. If they don't bring, you assume that they have equal chances of occurring, and therefore you use what I've just used here. Tumeelewana hapo? Is something taken care of there? If they give you probabilities, you use what they have. If they don't, give them equal chances of occurrence, and therefore you're going to use that particular probability. Is that clear? Is that clear to all of us? Sorry for that. Sorry for that. So have we mastered what I've just said with regards to the probability which we've used in tackling Roman 4? Have you been able to understand that? Have you been able to understand that? Please confirm. Please confirm as I look for something here. Have we been able to understand what is going on there? Have we been able to understand what is going on there? Okay, then the next thing that I'm able to see that we should be looking at, is the opportunity loss. Opportunity. So we have expected monetary value, and then we have expected opportunity loss. Expected opportunity loss. So how are we going to calculate expected opportunity loss? That's what I want us to look at. That is what I want us to look at. And something I think is wrong somewhere. When we talk about expected opportunity loss, how do we calculate that? Opportunity loss is basically maximum payoff minus payoff under each alternative. So we have maximum. So expected opportunity loss expected opportunity loss is equal to maximum payoff minus payoff under each alternative. Under each payoff under each alternative. So the maximum payoff, are we able to identify this maximum payoff? It is maximum payoff minus payoff under each alternative, Good. Very simple. Just come here. Just come to this payoff table. Come and indicate 4, 4.3, then 4.4. Best possible. Under best possible, have it somewhere here. Under best possible. So now you're not going to look at it vertically, but you're going to look at it horizontally. So my question is, when you look at the best possible, which one is the highest net profit? Which one is the highest net profit? Which one is the highest net profit? Highest net profit. 12,200. So that is what you are going to use to get now what you are going to lose. Remember, opportunity loss is the value of the next foregone alternative. If you have to select between 20 and 10, and you've selected 20 because it's the highest, the next best alternative which you could have selected is basically 10. If you have decided to select 4.4, the next best alternative is 4.3, and therefore the opportunity loss is the difference between what you've actually picked and the next best alternative. So what are we trying to say? They are telling us that for us to do that, it is maximum payoff. So our maximum payoff under best possible is 12,200. Then we less the payoff under each alternative. These alternatives, we are able to see when we take 12,200 minus 12,200, we are going to have 0. When we take 12,200 minus 12,000, we are going to have 200. When we take the same 12,200 minus 10,000, you're going to have 2,200. We go to most likely. We go to most likely. Most likely, we are able to see the highest here is 8,800. So 8,800 minus 8,800 will be 0. 8,800 minus 8,750 will be 50. 8,800 minus 8,000 will be 800. Then we go to worst possible. Worst possible, the maximum criterion or the outcome here is 0. So 0 minus 0 will be 0. 0 minus 0 minus 1,600. What will we have? 0 minus 1,600 will be 0 plus 1,600. Is it? The same will be 5,600. The same will be 56. And so from that point, set the selling price. So decision here. Decision. What's our decision? Decision. Expected opportunity loss. So what are we going to do? Expected opportunity loss. Expected opportunity loss. So once that is done, you need to give us the maximum regret. The maximum regret. When you decide to choose 4 shillings, the highest amount you're going to lose is 800. That's what you are actually losing. When you decide to set it at 4.3, the highest amount you are going to lose is 1,600. And when you decide to set it at 4 shillings, 4.4, the maximum amount you'll be losing is 5,600. So give us the maximum regret opportunity loss, the value of the foregone next best alternative. So you're able to see this is what you are going to, this is what you are going to lose. Is it? This is what you are going to lose, the highest one. So we are going to set the selling price at. Set the selling price at. Somebody to advise us there. Set the selling price at. Remember, as a company, you would like to minimize on what you are losing. So if you cannot tell us that you're going to set it at 4.4, and you know very well you will be losing 5,600, yet there's an alternative here that will make you to lose only 800. So the next best alternative to be taken care of is set the selling price at shillings 4. Set the selling price at shillings 4. Set the selling price at shillings 4. So that is what we have. That is what we have. So the expected opportunity loss, we've been able to calculate. And also we have expected monetary value, we've been able to calculate, whereby I said the expected monetary value, if the examiner has given you the probabilities, you basically use the probabilities given to be able to calculate the criterion, that is Laplace, or the expected monetary value. So the expected monetary value is basically what we have there. Should they give you probability, you use what they have given you. If they don't, then you use that ratio to be able to calculate Laplace and at the same time calculate expected monetary value. That's what we are required to do. And now, once we are done with this, you should be able to handle what we have in the sitting of, is it August 2023, question number 3B. You should be able to handle that. Should be able to handle August 2023, question number 2B. You should be able to handle November 2020, question number 1C. You should be able to handle November 2020, question number 1C, whereby you are being told we have those 3 items. So maybe November 2020, let's see. Blue Bench Hotel is a 5-star hotel based in Naivasha town, Kenya. In the onset of the Kenya Athletic Federation's cross-country championship for the year 2020, due to be held in Naivasha later in the year, the hotel management has reviewed the hotel's operations with a view of strengthening activities so as to take full advantage of the event. The management has decided to package booking options into 3 as follows: bed only, bed and breakfast, full board. The management is aware that the outcome could take any of the following possibilities for each of the booking outcomes above. We have full booking, we have moderate booking, we have low booking. So if you look at what we have there, the management is aware that the outcome could take any of the following possibilities. The outcomes, they are now referring to what we are having here. Best possible. And therefore, this best possible, you're going to replace it with full booking, moderate booking, and then low booking. The selling prices that we are having up here will now be the options. We have bed only, we have bed and breakfast, we have full board. I believe I'm trying to help you interpret that question and do it by yourself. Then they have worked the likely payoff amount for the booking options under each possible outcome as per the table given below. So we have probabilities, bed only, decision alternatives, that is a bed and breakfast. Then we have full board, which I just mentioned there. Then, of course, the possibilities. Now, in this particular question of 2020, the examiner has given you probability somewhere. You don't come up with a third. No, you have the probabilities. Advise the management of the hotel on the best booking option using the following decision theory technique: expected monetary value, expected opportunity loss. Another hint. If you see the word expected monetary value, they are basically telling you to use what we call Laplace. So how did we calculate Laplace criterion? How did we calculate Laplace criterion? Then, having done that, they want you to do what we call give us expected opportunity loss. Expected opportunity loss is equal to maximum payoff minus payoff under each alternative. So this one is the simplest actually, which you should be able to handle. Are you able to do that question? Are you able to do that question? Are you able to do that question? Should I allow you to do it, or I handle it, then you do the August 2023? Which one? Should we do this one here? We'll try first. But of course, I think we've done one question here, so let's do this. do the other one during your discussion or even in class. That is the August one. As we move to the next thing in our next class. So let me have this indicated down here. And there's a correction which we need to make in this question here. Now look at how this question is very simple. They have actually simplified everything for you. They have actually simplified this one here for you. You are not going to come up with the payoff tables. They have already calculated the payoff table. So you come and post their payoff table. Our payoff table here, we have events or possibility of occurrence here. So we have full booking. So we have full booking. That is now the events. We have something here, moderate booking. And then we have low booking. Probability is given to us. And then we have bed only. We have bed and breakfast. And then we have full board. Now, full booking probability 0.3, 0.5, 0.2. Decision alternatives, there we have 24,000. I think you know, I'll be able to see they are in thousands, so we can just pick 24,000. We have 48,000. We have 6,000. We have 90,000. We have 44,000. We have 8,000. 16, 28, 18. Good, so that's what we have. That's what we have. Is it possible we try even looking at all of them the way we have looked at them? But of course, at the end of the day, we also respond to the interest of the question. Will it be okay? If you look at possible questions there, then you look, of course, at the end of it, we are also able to deal with the interest of this particular question. For the first one, we are going to look at maxi max. So max, we are maximizing the maximum. So let's look at the maximum. Maximum for each column, we have for bed only, our maximum figure is 48,000, is it? For bed and breakfast, our maximum figure is 90,000. So that is bed only, bed, breakfast, then full board. Full board, our highest figure is 28,000. Advice decision. So we are actually maximizing. So look at the maximum again. 90,000, is it? So decision, 90,000 iko wapi? So bed, so they just have to offer bed and breakfast. It will give them a lot of money. That is under Maximax. The next one tulikuwa na Maximin, is it? Maximin. We look at the maximum, minimum. So minimums here. The minimum figure under bed only, we have 6,000. Then we have 8,000. Then we have 16,000. What are we doing? We are maximizing the minimum figure. So the highest of these is 16. Decision here. Offer full board. We'll be able to meet maximum criterion. Then which other one are we remaining with? We need to look at what we call Laplace. Laplace, they have given us probability of occurrence. They have given us probability of occurrence, is it? They have given us probability of occurrence. So what are we going to do? The probability of occurrence, we now convert them to probabilities. That is 0.3 by 24. We are basically interested in getting expected monetary value, and then we pick the highest. So the expected monetary value here, we need to check 0.3 by 24,000 plus 0.5 by 48,000 plus 0.2 by 6,000. You get the answer. Then 0.3 by 90,000 plus 0.5 by 44,000 plus 0.2 by 8,000. You give us the answer there. Then you take 0.3 by 6,000 plus 0.5 by 8,000 plus 0.2 by 18,000. You should be able to give us expected monetary value. What is our expected monetary value? Expected monetary value. So we have bed only. We have bed and breakfast. We have full board. Number one, 32,400. So I'm told this one is 32. 400 beds. Bed and breakfast, 5,600. Then full board. Full board ningapi. Someone to support what Truth is saying before I indicate it down. Someone to support or disagree. Someone to support or to disagree with what Truth is telling us there. Are we getting what Truth has indicated here, mwisho? 9,400, okay, someone has disagreed. The third person will be able to tell us who is right. 0.3 by 6, 0.5 by 8, 0.2 by 18. This one will be 3,600, 4,000, 1,800. Anything above that? Anything? Wacha tuone the third person. Ruth, please confirm whether what they are giving us is right. Maybe you miscalculated something there. 9,400, is it? Good. Expected monetary value. We are using Laplace criterion, but now the higher the expected monetary value, the more profitable the option is. So decision here. Decision. Offer. The highest monetary value is this, so offer bed and breakfast. And you'll be able to maximize your profits. Offer bed and breakfast. So Maximax is telling us to do the same. Maximin is giving us a different thing. Laplace is now giving us bed and breakfast. So at least two of them have been able to confirm to us that if you offer bed and breakfast, you will be making some good profit. How about the fourth one? That's what the correction is. How about the fourth one? Kindly check on the low booking expected values. Low booking expected values. 6,818. 6,818. 6,818. You have used 8,000 instead of 28,000. Hapa hii 28. Hii 28. You're supposed to take 24 by 0.3 plus 48 by 0.5 plus 6 by 0.2. That is okay. Then we have 0.3 by 90, 0.5 by 44, 0.2 by 8. 0.2 by 8. Then the last one, 0.3 by 16, 0.3 by 16, 0.3 by 16, not 6. 0.3 by 16, 0.5 by 28, 0.5 by 28, 0.5 by 28. And then 0.2 by 18. So it means this one will actually change. Itakuwa hivyo. So Ruth was right, is it? Ruth was right. So what does it tell us? Hata kama majority wamepeana answers, stick to yours. So Ruth was right. She was actually taking us to the right direction. Ruth was taking us to the right direction. Okay, so that is done. What are we supposed to do for Roman 4? Roman 4, there is something that we are leaving out. Roman 4, we are looking for what you call minimax. We have been told to minimize. Minimax regret criterion. So minimax regret criterion here is basically what we are going to use to be able to get there, to be able to get what we are not having here. So minimax regret criterion here, the one that will be giving you the lowest rate or the lowest loss is what we are going to pick. So what do we need to do? We need to come up with this. So we have bed only. Bed only. We have bed and breakfast. Then we have full board. Is it? Then we have the probabilities not necessary. So we have full board. We have full board. We have moderate booking. Then we have low booking. Then maximum regret. Now, wow, time is not on our side. What do we need to do? We now look at this thing here horizontally. Is it? Look at it horizontally. Which one is the highest in the first option? Under full booking. In the case or in the event that full booking has taken place, what will be the highest amount? 90,000, is it? So 90,000 minus 90 will be 0. 90,000 minus 24 will give us 70. Will give us, is it 66? Will this be 66,000? Somebody to confirm? Good. Then 90,000 minus 16. Will it be 74? Will it be 74? Good. You come to row number 2 under moderate booking. Should In the event that moderate booking has taken place, our highest expectation is 48,000. So 48,000 minus 48 is 0. 48 minus 44 is 4. 48 minus 28 is 20. In the event that low booking has occurred, we expect highest figure of 18,000 minus 18 is 0. 18 minus 8 is 10. 18 minus 6 is 12. Maximum regret. Should we offer bed only? We are going to lose a maximum of 66,000 under full booking. We'll be losing 66,000. Should we decide to offer bed and breakfast, we are likely to lose a maximum, the highest figure of 10,000 should low booking occur. When full board or booking, when full board has taken place, we are likely to lose 74,000 as the highest figure. We are likely to lose 74,000 as the highest figure. Under minimax regret, we are trying to minimize our regret. We are trying to minimize what we are going to lose. So you don't have an option, but this is what is presented to you. Which one is the likely bearable loss? I'm lost in the previous question. Yes, that's what I said. I said we have to make a correction. So look at what we did in the previous question. We are doing the reverse, is it? In the previous question, this is what we did, which is wrong. We are told to minimize the maximum. We arranged the maximums and then looked at the minimum of those, is it? Now, this is the right way to do it. Let's make correction. That's why I said we want to make correction. So just cancel that which you're having there and look at it, because this one here will again lead you to calculating the expected opportunity loss. Expected opportunity loss. All of them are within these four things. Expected monetary value, we've known what is supposed to be done. Expected opportunity loss, we've known what is supposed to be done. Expected monetary value is just under Laplace. Expected opportunity loss, we are basically under minimax here. So just cancel the other one which we did, and then you change it to this particular format. This one here, which I think we are able to tackle in the other question, but we're calling it a different name. We're calling it expected opportunity loss, yet that is the same as minimax regret. So is that rectified? Is that rectified? So decision here, we are basically trying to minimize on losses. So when you try to minimize on losses, they are going to take the lowest one. So offer bed and breakfast. Offer bed and breakfast. Offer bed and breakfast. Good. Now, opportunity loss. We've already calculated expected monetary value. How do we get opportunity loss? It is maximum payoff minus payoff under each alternative. And that's what we've calculated here. Opportunity loss, expected opportunity loss is basically maximum payoff. We're looking at the maximum payoff. For example, this one here, minus payoff under each alternative. Payoff under each alternative. Payoff under each alternative. Maximum 48 minus payoff under each alternative. 48 minus this 4. 48 minus this 20. That's what we did. And then look at the one that's giving you the lowest loss. So that's how we calculate those particular questions. That's how we calculate those particular. So the two criterion are similar, since the choice that maximizes the expected monetary value also minimizes the expected opportunity loss. Are we able to compare that? Let's see. The two are similar since the option that makes us to have the highest expected monetary value, where is it? For us to be able to get expected monetary value of the highest figure, we are supposed to offer bed and breakfast. Is it? We are trying to maximize profit. What about when we are trying to minimize losses? When we are trying to minimize losses, that is the minimax regret, then we are able to see that the one which will be making us to lose the lowest amount of money is bed and breakfast. So they are similar, the two are similar since whatever is making us to minimize our loss, that is bed and breakfast, is also the same thing that is making us to maximize our profit. Is the one that is making us to maximize our profit. It maximizes our profit to the highest figure of 5,600. It minimizes our losses to 10,000. So that's why we are calling the two to be similar. Now, is that question answered? Is that question answered? Is that question answered? And if you don't want to confuse these two, unaona hii Laplace, weka hapa in brackets. If you are going to forget, ukiulizwa expected monetary value, jua tu ni Laplace, lakini utakuwa unapewa probability. If they want you to get expected opportunity loss, this is what you are going to do. This is the table you are going to come up with, and then of course you advise them on the one that's giving us the lowest loss. So wake up, Ivy. So are you able to remember what we did, which was talking about minimax? Minimax, are you able to remember that minimax NA? Are you able to remember the minimax which we did in the other question? Ile minimax ndio sasa unakuja unaweka expected opportunity loss. You rectify. We did not do it that way. We actually picked the maximums and then selected the lowest. You are not supposed to do it that way. You're supposed to do it this way. This is the formula. So that is it. You can now look at what was tested in August. You can now look at what was tested in August. Uangalie vizuri, and then you do it. So that marks the end of our today's discussion. Thanks for your time. Have a blessed night, and let's meet on Sunday.